What's going on, everybody? Corey here, and this week um, I want to talk about magic clubs. So, are they important to the magic community? Is it something that you should look into joining? And if I'm part of any, so obviously, if you're paying attention to my background, you know that I'm obviously part of magic clubs if it shows up on the video. But part of both national and international clubs that we have here in the States. I think there's only two, unless something's sprouted off that I'm not aware of. But I'm part of the Society of American Magicians National Club, and then the International Brotherhood of Magicians. On top of that, I am part of my local IBM ring here in Kansas City, which does like monthly meetings and local events. Now, when it comes to the importance of clubs, I'm very mixed on it because I feel like a lot of clubs aren't doing it right. They're not doing really what feels like their purpose is. So the last time I was at a local event, a local meeting, we spent, and keep in mind, it's like a 2 hour long meeting. We spent the first hour talking about politics of the club, then 30 minutes of a dealer demo, and then 30 minutes of competition, which is, come up and do either a stage or close-up thing, and if you do that, then you get to do the Participating Close-Up Magician of the Year or Stage Magician of the Year competitions. And I think that's the wrong approach. I don't know how much better it's gotten. It's been years since I've been to a local club meeting. So I don't know what's reflecting in my thing, but clubs, I think if they change, and there might be a lot that are different than what we have here in Kansas City, but clubs need to change to really drive that one, membership, interest in magic, support the younger people coming into magic. And it very much feels like you've got a bunch of the old timers just running it that are happy with the way things have always worked. So when it comes to, for me, I would rather just be a part of the large organization instead of the local. The only reason I even pay for the local is I get discounts on lectures when they have lectures. Honestly, the only perk that I get from being a local member of my local IBM. I used to be a member of the local SAM, Society of American Magicians, and it was a little bit different, but it was a lot of the same too. They were more welcoming, and the SAM has the SYM, Society of Young Magicians. But at the end of the day, this very much feels much of the same. You've got a lot of the same people going back and between the two, the same people running it, same people on the boards. So it's ran, at least again here in Kansas City, it's ran very much the same. Again, that could have, like I said, that could have very much well changed over the last 10 years. But I doubt that it has. So, and I don't know what other, I know in the UK there's like the Magic Circle, and I'm sure there's a bunch of different magic clubs. So is it worth joining your club? I think if you want, I think locally, if you think you can make a difference and that's your drive, I think definitely. I would love to make it. I would love to make a difference, honestly though, but I can't stand half the people I shouldn't say half. There's a couple people that I can't stand in the local club that are just always going to be there until they die off. There's doesn't feel like there's much point in uh, doing anything because there's also a large chunk of those people that are very adamant, like, oh no, we're doing things fine. And but I do think Magic clubs are necessary to the future of Magic, and maybe it's something where we branch off and say, you know what, IDM, you've been around for a while, SAM, you've been around, Magic Circle, you've been around, but we need something new. We need the focus back on Magic. And honestly, that's what I would love to see happen. If I had the power to be able to do that, say, hey, I'm starting a new Magic organization. Our focus is to get the youth involved, get people involved in the clubs, support our local magicians, teach, things like that, because that's what I feel like a Magic club should be. It shouldn't be when you see performances at Magic clubs, everyone's, oh, that was so great. Oh, you're so good. Even if it's garbage. I've watched someone do the 21 card trick so many times, and the club always says how great they are. No, you're doing the 21 card trick. It's not great. There's nothing great about it. It's like when you see kid magicians that are doing really bad job at doing magic, and people tell them how great they are. No, you need to constructively tell them what they need to work on. Point out, hey, that you did this well. If they did something well, but give them constructive feedback. Give them criticism because people need that. It's the reason we end up with American Idol, where all these people are like, my family tells me I sing like Brian McKnight, and they sound like a cow being shoved in a garbage disposal. Because people are so scared to hurt a kid's feelings or hurt someone's feelings, and so they say, "Oh no, you're great," instead of being honest and saying, "Look, it's like this. Here's some things you need to work on." Like all the way through. And I think the clubs as they are now, I don't feel like they do that. Again, I've only been part of my local ones in Kansas City, so it may be different in other parts of the country. But I do think, I think the clubs need to focus. It needs to be a focus back on Magic. The political aspect of clubs should not be part of your monthly meetings. That's for the board. Now, if the board makes a decision that impacts how the club operates, then yeah, at the very beginning of the meeting, you say, as a board, we have decided that we are going to do this from now on as part of our club. That's fine, but that's where it stops. It's an announcement. There's no room for discussion. It's if you have concerns, talk to me privately, email me, call me privately, whatever it is, and voice your concerns. And then you move on. I think clubs should, with the focus on Magic, also honestly eliminate dealer demos at clubs. If you want to give a quick shout out, like, hey, don't forget about this Magic shop in town. They've got a bunch of new stuff in. Ask them back in the back. That's fine, but it needs to be. Clubs should have more of a workshop feel. So if it's just going in there and saying, hey, we're gonna do this workshop on counts. I'm someone who I love counts. Gemini count, Elmsley count, Jordan count. And those are things that I feel like I'm very good at. So like if I were to go to a club meeting and say, hey, I want to do this, that would be doing a workshop on those counts to make them better. Talking theory with magicians at the clubs. Just different things like that. And I think we're really, really missing that. Because the club should be fun. They should be entertaining. They should be educational. We should always be learning more in Magic and not being complacent. And obviously, like, you can have like little breakout jam sessions, even do challenges. Like, if you want to just say for 1 month, say, hey, this month we're going to break out in groups. And the idea is to come up with some kind of trick or presentation that you could do for the group. Um, Another thing that I don't like about some clubs, and I get it, that's what they want to make sure that they've got serious people in them, but the being forced to perform to join. Some people just aren't performers; they don't feel comfortable with it. That's not why they're in it. Maybe they're just hobbyists, but they just really want to be part and learn more about magic. And I think that's why there's so many hobbyists in clubs, because they just love magic so much that they want to just be surrounded by it. So there's a lot of things that need a change. I do think it's worth joining um, at a national or international level, um, and maybe whittling away to start driving that change. And like I said, if you can get into a board situation, like where you're part of the board, or you can talk to people who are making a decision, like, hey, this is kind of my thoughts on this. You know, these things need to change. Um, And I think also with the modern time, I really believe that clubs need to get more involved in technology. The pandemic forced Zoom, um, and a lot of clubs are on Facebook. But where are we leveraging everything? Why aren't we doing a? Why doesn't your club have a Discord? Um, why, where you can, as a group, you all can chat all day. You can do virtual breakout rooms where you do video calls with other club members and you can jam out things. And I don't know, I would just do things really different, I think, with club. And honestly, I feel like our clubs that have been around for so long just aren't going to change, or it's going to take a very long time. And you're going to have to start a whole new organization and say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we want now, and like getting people on board. I think you would get a lot more younger people. Um, and I think in the modern times it makes sense. Like, work out a deal with Andy and Josh and say, hey, we're doing this whole new thing. Uh, we want to drive business to you or any of the other online retailers. Can we get like a 10% off code for our members that we can say, hey, here you go. This is your benefit, or things like that. So I don't know, just some thoughts. Like I said, I do think clubs are worth joining, but I think in order to change it, there's got to be a big drive to change, and I don't know if there's enough involvement from people who want to change things that anything's ever going to happen. But I'd love your thoughts. Are you part of any clubs? IBM, SAM, Magic Circle, whatever else might be out there. Um, and how are your meetings different than what I've experienced? And again, I say again and again, it's been a long time since I've been to a meeting. But it was one of the things that drove me away from the local club. So I always keep my national and international statuses up, but local, it's really hard for me because I don't go to those meetings because of the negativity and just how they've always been ran. And I know that um, I've heard that our local places are trying to change and they're doing better, but it's one of those things, you have a bad taste in your mouth and you're really, really hesitant to go back. So let's have a conversation down in the comments down below. This has been kind of like a random ramblings kind of uh, video today, but let's have some discussion and tell me about your clubs or your magic organizations that you're part of and how you feel that they've done good or what you feel that they need to change. And we will catch you next week or this weekend on Coffee and Magic.